2013, I was editing my first film in Berlin, and my mother calls and very bluntly says, so your grandma's dying, she's got 3 months to live, and you can't really call her or go see her because you're too emotional, she doesn't know, the family has decided not to tell her, and you can't tell her. And so a couple hours later, my dad comes up with this idea that we all have to go see her, and why not have my cousin marry his girlfriend and throw a wedding? It would be the perfect way to go and say goodbye to her. And so that ignited the start of this story.
You know, I remember when we were doing early screenings of Crazy Rich Asians, and there were people outside the theaters and they were crying, and it was because they felt like just pure joy, right? Because Crazy Rich Asians, it ends on a relatively happy note, like, you know, and they would cry. But then yesterday, there were a couple people that came up to me, like, also with tears in their eyes, hours after the movie, saying, like, we just did this to my grandpa. You know, I just came back from China. I just buried my grandma. And these people, like, they can't hold in their emotions, and it resonates with them in such a strong, like, deep way. It's just like, you know, movies like this need to exist. And it's like, no matter how broad the story goes, I mean, it resonates for sure. And it's deeply personal. I never thought that I would find a script such as this. One from a perspective of a girl that not only makes this kind of cross-cultural journey, but also has this like really deep connection with her grandma. And that plays a lot for me. And over time, like, I did become very emotionally invested in her family.
Yeah, and when Awkwafina sent in an audition tape, you could just feel the connection to the material. It was so raw. It was not like any other audition tape that I saw. And I just knew immediately that her personal connection with her own grandmother and all of that would bring so many layers to the story.
Yeah.
It's really crazy because it started with me and my family and me thinking this is so crazy, and then expanded when I did This American Life, and I learned that, like, you know, people were emailing me from different countries, not just in Asia. They're like, oh, I'm from Brazil and we do this, or, you know, and so I was like, wait, this is much larger. And then to be on set with the entire cast and crew, we became an extended family all were like carrying the burden, as she said, of this secret. So grandma would come on set and people would like hide signs and keep her away from Video Village, and people would like give her massages and push her around on her wheelchair.
But you know, at the same time, that's just how that's the kind of like respect that we had on that set. It was an all Chinese crew, and all of my Chinese castmates, like, we all looked out for each other in a way that, like, I've really never seen, and that's how they do it over there, you know? It's a lot more about, there's this extended familial aspect, and also just this notion of respect for your elders, and that was very powerful for me.